right, time for a fusion, and I'm sure a Titan path will follow. No, maybe not follow. Go right along with it in the second week. Who knows? I'm sure everybody's enjoyed their break from the last fusion and Titan path. I mean, we had 48 hours. Of course, we had CVC in that 48 hours, and now the fusion's on us. So there is no rest for the weak and weary in Raid Shadow Legends. And certainly we don't want you to have time to rebuild your resources now, do we? All right, well, I'm sure you guys have seen by now I'm delayed in getting this out. I'm sure you've seen the content out there. If not, go check Reddit, YouTube, it's all over. This new Void Legendary's doing crazy stuff, and Plarian's come out and said they're not gonna nerf him, so they're letting him be who he is, so for now. Hey, before we get into that though, cue the promo.
Hey, before we go on, click the link in the description right now and you can get the great legendary poisoner, Narma, along with 3 epics. You get Anax, Mausoleum Mage, and the best epic in the game, Uugo, as you progress. All you have to do is follow 4 steps. Step 1, log out Plarian Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid, complete the tutorial. And Step 4, go to your inbox, Narma's there waiting. These 4 free champions will give you an insane head start in Raid, so click on that link before it expires.
So it kind of leaves us in a position here where you got to decide, do you think they're going to nerf the champ? I think unlikely. Or nerf the strategy? More likely. So obviously, Corporate Cadaver can't do what he used to do. Master Butcher, right, was out there once. Dianica and Wixwell approach doesn't work the way it did. Emic and the taunt loop, they killed that. So they left Trunda untouched and said Trunda stuff's fantastic, nothing wrong with her, but let's nerf every other strategy out there. Well, is it like, look, we don't know how to fix Trunda, or, well, correction, we know how to fix Trunda, but nobody will like it and we don't want to do it, so screw it. Maybe we shouldn't have nerfed those other strats now. Let's just put a new one out there and give people another option, and we'll make it a fusion and people won't care about Trunda anymore. I don't know. So I don't think they care about Classic Clan Boss, where he's done great numbers. I think if he makes a mockery of Chimera and Hydra, I gotta think they're gonna care and do something about it. But he's a Void Legendary. I don't think they will screw him up enough that he's not a powerful component in those strats. So if it's me, I think before I said Void Legendaries are hard to get. If I'm you, I'd go get them, because if you have the resources at all, because it's hard to get a Void Legendary. And if they're gonna buff anybody in the future, it's a Void Legendary. Well, now you can see him doing crazy stuff. Man, I'd go get him if you can, because I think what they'll do is they'll make him, they'll do something against the strats, worst case. But I think they'll do the Geomancer. They fixed Geomancer way back, and Geomancer's still one of the best champs in the game. So I don't think they'll nerf him in the ground or his strat in the ground after saying they won't, and they'll keep an eye on it. So if it's me, I go get him. And unfortunately, if they put a Titan path out for him with a 5-star soul, the guy's really going to benefit from a 5-star soul. So I'd recommend going to do the Titan path. But for those of you that just did Thol and just did Tholan's Titan path and you just don't have the resources or the time, hey, you know what? It's a game. Do you need this guy to survive and raid and have a good account? No, you don't have to have him. There's other champs they're going to put out over the next year you can use. Will you miss him? Will you have liked to have him? Probably. But if you got to do other things in life where you don't have the resources, it is what it is. It's a game. There'll be other options. No champ in this game you have to have. Yeah, having a newt on your account, if you skip that fusion, you probably regretted that. Having a newt on your account's great. Can you beat everything in the game without newt? A little slower, but yes. I figure he'll be the same way. You can still one-key the clan boss without the guy, but will he make it easier? Will he do fun stuff? I think he will. All right, enough of that. Let's get into the calendar itself. So we have a fairly traditional schedule with a couple nuances in it. So they did give us the bonus summon rush at the bottom, along with another summon rush and champ chase. So for the summoning events, you've got 3 to choose from. You've got summon rush, and champ chase. So let's start right off with the, what I'll call the shard events and strat there. I think this summon rush down here is likely to be more event-based relics in it. They won't do a guaranteed champ or something like that, which they've done before, when there's a Void Legendary in the fusion. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's event-based relics, which those are RNG chances. So I skipped the entire deck of Fate on the last fusion, said I'm not doing it. So 50 frags, I expect them to be expensive. We'll get to it, but I expect it to be a Dungeon Divers, and, well, I guess it wouldn't surprise me if this has a Deck of Fate built into it with a Dungeon Diver component. But will they let you double dip with the Summon Rush and the Deck of Fate? I don't know. The reason I say that, there is no Dungeon Divers in the middle here. So it wouldn't surprise me if a Deck of Fate drops in here with Dungeon Divers in it, that you can use these. It'll probably be independent of the Summon Rush, though. So if this is just a Summon Rush, I expect it to be expensive. I expect all 3 of these to be expensive because it's a Void Legendary. I think I'm looking at this Summon Rush in the beginning with a progressive chance on it. No 2 times on shards, and going, I think I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to prepare myself to be ready to do this entire full Summon Rush down here for 50 if it's not crazy, and it'll allow me to either skip the Champ Chase if that's not compelling, or to skip something else or miss something, because if you miss anything else, you're toast. If you don't get 25 fragments out of here, I assume this will be a 25 and a 50, not just one straight shot 50. So I would probably like to go pick up the 25 here at least. Well, you have to pick this 25 up if you skip the first Summon Rush, which I would probably do. And then I'll keep an eye on the cost. Sometimes what you find is the first 50 cost like 6 Sacreds, but the second 50 don't cost another 6 Sacreds. Maybe it's 4 or 5. In which case there's a value play there to get the second. So I wouldn't mind picking up the 50 here, just so if I screw something else up, I still get the guy. Or if I get everything else going, I could skip something towards the end. But realistically, I'll get the 25 for sure out of here because I'm going to skip the Summon Rush in the beginning. And then the Champ Chase, I feel like you're going to be compelled to do it because if they launch the Titan event in week 2, then you're going to have to get the points in the Champ Chase anyway. And you can get 3 epics to get the 25 fragments. So there's points there. And then once you get the 4th epic, you can get all these other events done while the Champ Chase is still on. So you can finish the fusion, get your 4th epic to another 350 points, they're voids. You can get the champ himself, which is a void legendary. I think that's another 650 points. And the free login champ, if you delay your claim of those, or you just stay on Plarium Play on the PC and don't log out for a day, just stay on for a day, you'll skip an entire login. I'll time that so that I can get the Champ Chase done and get the free legendary 500 points. So you're talking 650, 1150 plus 1400. That's 2,500 points in the Champ Chase. I expect it to be expensive because they know the math just like I did. But that's a lot of points towards whatever value they do give. So I'm pretty sure the Champ Chase is something I'm going to want to do, and it might be a Titan event going on at the same time. So I'm planning on doing the Champ Chase. I'll get at least 25 out of the second Summon Rush, and I'll eye up if I get the other 25 anyway. I got a lot of shards on both accounts, so I can do that. If something compels you in the Summon Rush and you want to get it out of the way the first weekend, nothing wrong with that approach. You can do the Summon Rush and either get 25 out of the Summon Rush down here, or go get the 25 in the Champ Chase. It's your approach. So right, that is it on the shards and the shard strategy. From there, the rest of this goes a lot more quicker. You've got Classic Arena 1 and Classic Arena 2. Those are easy, just do them. In the beginning, you've got dragons going on. I skipped dragons today. Don't do dragons until Dungeon Divers opens. By the time you're watching this video, Dungeon Divers will be open. Hope you didn't do it. And then you got a bunch of champ training you can do. I do that through the campaign, which gives me Dungeon Diver points. And Ice Golem opens up during Dungeon Divers. So you got 3 events that drive Dungeon Divers. So Dungeon Divers should be easy. I'll probably max that event out. You got, in the middle, you've got the event tournament. So pay attention to that. If you don't have event teams built by now, you're going to need one to do the fusion, unless you go shard heavy and skip that. And then you have spiders going on as well. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised to see a Deck of Fate out here that has a Dungeon Diver component to it. Maybe they don't. Maybe you can just, but then that's a choice. You don't have to do the Deck of Fate. But you at least need to get spiders in the event dungeon done, and maybe it's giving you free stuff out of the Deck of Fate that you can get anyway. And then you got Champ Training going on. Champ Training does overlay with Dungeon Diver 2, so if you can save a bunch of Champ Training if you do it through the campaign, you can do it when Dungeon Divers 2 opens. If you use brews and stuff like that, then you can just do it anytime you want. But I'll be looking at Dungeon Divers 2. I'll be looking at doing spiders and champ training when Dungeon Divers opens, so I can get the points out of the Dungeon Divers. And you'll have the epics that you can level up in that champ training as well. So I'll be looking at building my epics up for the fusion, getting the spiders done, and doing any other champ training I want to do to get this Dungeon Divers done. And you've also got Fire Knight. So for the 2 Dungeon Divers, they loaded them up. You got Spiders and champ training, which you'd have to go hard and intense on. And then you got plenty of time to do Fire Knight. So a lot of things loaded up in Dungeon Divers 2 and a lot of things loaded up in Dungeon Divers 1. So Dungeon Divers aren't a problem. If they put a Deck of Fate out in here with a Dungeon Divers aspect to it, you got to ask yourself if doing the Spiders in the event dungeon are worth doing it relative to waiting for Dungeon Divers 2. So a choice to be made there. If you have plenty of energy, you could do both. And then you do have plenty of silver to spend. You got gear enhancements 1, 2, and 3. So you're talking 15 to 20 million silver probably on each one of those. You got plenty of dungeons that you're farming to get stuff along the way. So there's certainly silver earning opportunities, but they definitely loaded those 3 in there and not a lot of space in between to get more silver in between. So that's really it for the fusion schedule. I said really it's a big summon determination thing you want to do. We've got the event dungeon in there for the first time as a unique item, and there's a pile of points available in that champ chase. So they could build those into the points. So one more time, don't fuse those epics early. Wait to fuse the epics in the champ chase. You can fuse the champ himself, the 4th epic, and time your logins on that free champ. That's a lot of points available in that champ chase that if you don't do those and they bake them in the points and you don't get 50 summon events in the first summon rush or the second and you leave that you need to get the chase, you can screw yourself. They've done that in the past. Sometimes they don't bake them in and that's actually an easier champ chase. Sometimes they've baked them into the points. Once again, it's a void legendary. It won't surprise me. I do expect them to do a Titan path. They've done it before where it starts right after the fusion ends, and then this Tholen one, they ran it right in. So we don't know what they saw in those analytics. I don't know if they're going to come back and say, ooh, we liked that. That made people burn resources. People bought energy packs, and they found it a good return for them. Then they'll do it again here. If they found that they didn't make as much money off that as having it be in a separate event, then I think they'll run the Titan at the end. So we won't know until we get into that second week and we see the Titan show up or not. I'll be stunned if they don't do a Titan. They have, I guess, in the past done a Deck of Fate, like in this July 16th, 17th frame, where they put a Deck of Fate out there with the soul for the champ, and he's just buried down in the that Deck of Fate path, and they make that expensive. So they could do that instead of a Titan event. So either way, you're gonna have work to do. But the benefit of those is they're only 2 to 3 days long. They're intense for the resources in 2 to 3 days, but you don't have 2 weeks of Titan to do. So I like the Titan events better just because they're easier, they're less costly. No, they're not. There's a ton of it. It's just spread over 2 weeks, but they're just as costly. So the deck's just done in 2 to 3 days, but they're incredibly expensive for 2 to 3 day events. So I figure they'll do one of those 2 things though. And I think I'm gonna want his 5-star soul. So really both my free-to-play and my main would like to get this guy. Both my free-to-play and my main would like to get that Titan path. Both my free-to-play and my main have said we like to spend less time in raid. So you can't do all those. So I got to decide what I do, as do you. Do you just keep going through the grind? Do you take the thing off? You know, hey, you got to do what you got to do in real life, right? All right, that is it on the fusion. One other thought, just while I'm on this video, is, hey, those advanced quest things. Oh, let me pause and bring that up. So just a fair warning here on these use 6 fortress keys, where they give you one of these. It's not like you get to choose your one, which I think is crap. I wish you could choose the one that you want to skip. But on this use 6 fortress keys, actually, isn't that a new advanced quest? I've never seen the use 6 fortress keys advanced quest. That's crazy. That means they're requiring you to use, isn't that like 120 energy for the last stage, and you get 50 back? I guess it's a discount for those of us that run fortress keys anyway. My free-to-play only runs fortress keys on Saturday. Now they're going to tie my advanced quest to the fortress keys. But what I've read is, hey, click in this button, careful what you wish for. So complete 1 live arena battle. Someone clicked and they got win 3 live arena battles. Well, that's far worse. Another one had run Sand Devil level 15 and up 3 times. Well, that takes energy. Not as bad as 6 fortress keys. So yeah, they didn't just add in this one option. They've changed the advanced quests. So it's a little universe of things, and they don't give you an idea of what the choices are. It's not like they put out something saying, here's the 15 things you might that randomly come in, and you just got to gauge, is this worse than what could come? We're just going to have to learn what these advanced quests are that they're dropping in, but they're not easier. So yeah, they gave us a skip option, but I don't think it's really quality of life. I just think they gave us more RNG in the game with more crappy options in the advanced quests. So that's frustrating. So, but fair warning, if you don't like 6 fortress keys, you know, clicking that button it could get worse. I don't know. Anyway, that's it on that one. So that's the video. Hey, if this was informative to you and liked it, please like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you.